It's not every day we get a brand new track in MotoGP games, but today we're diving into Balaton Park, the latest addition in MotoGP 25. And today I want to show you the best way to learn it, from the trickiest corners to the fastest lines, so you can hit the ground running and start setting fast laps straight away here in Hungary. But a quick mention and thank you to SirChioXXIII for another incredible helmet design. Thank you to the Belgian Ace, and if you're interested in getting a helmet like that, speak to him in either my Discord or his Instagram. Right then, let's talk Balaton Park. This one's a tough one and we're going to basically learn it together. So first things first, don't worry about a setup. Don't worry about a specific tyre choice or anything, just get out on the track and learn the lines. Take your time and get a feel for it. Something that works incredibly well for me is just to run straight away, full fuel, and with tyre wear on, even if it's in time trial mode or if it's in practice in a normal quick race. Get out on the track and experience it. Now the reason I want to implore that you choose a full fuel load and tyre wear is so you can really put in the laps and start to notice the difference within the bike, because when you're racing, everything in time trial is great, but when it comes to tyre wear and fuel getting low and power is getting difficult, it's not as simple as just continuing to do the lines. You've got to adapt and continue to fight forward. So let's talk the track. It's technical, it's fast, it's challenging. You're going to have to be really solid on your brakes here. And of course, with no vibration on the DualSense controller, I have to be that extra bit sensitive on that left trigger. Brake a little bit too hard and that front end of the Gresini Ducati is going to plummet. Right then, coming up to yet another difficult point here. This is the 12th corner here in Balaton Park, and let me assure you, it doesn't get any easier from this corner onwards. I did a lap earlier on, it was a 138.7, actually just before starting this video, but like a fool, I left the ghost on, and personally, I cannot stand having the ghost in time trial, so I've turned that off, and now we can focus on just trying to improve our lap time. So right then, let's talk corner 1. The rumble strips on the left hand side of your screen there are there as guidance. When you get close to that curb, it's time to brake. Around this part of the circuit, it's difficult because there isn't really any major braking points. It's all about feeling and sensation. Lean onto the left hand side of the tyre here and just wait for an opportunity for you to straighten the bike up and power out. Use your ride height device, keep the bike at nice and level, and then fire out the corner. Great point here is a shadow here. It's a little bit of a discoloration on the floor there. Works out really well for me to know when to start braking in turn 4. And now here with the change direction, you want to be aiming to hit those apexes every single time. Now I'm not using any riding lines or riding aids. It's simply just a case of feeling. Now I'm going to be braking very early for the majority of these corners, but I want you to do that as well. I want you to feel the sensation of, oh, I can actually brake later there. It's much better to brake too early rather than constantly braking too late. And another great bit of advice here is that going into the corners, if you do go wide, don't try and fight it. Let the bike go wide, experience it, realise, and do better the next time around. And also, something you're probably not going to be able to do in this video, which I'll probably be quiet for a few times just so you can hear it, is listen to the engine. Sometimes that's a great point of reference. When you're going into a certain point, the bike will only reach a certain speed and it'll reach a certain rev limiter. This is on default settings, may I once again remind you. Listen to that bike, if it starts revving, hitting the limiter, that could be a reference point for you to start braking, which I'll show you at the end of this lap. But from this point onwards, we're going to now just focus on trying to consistently get a decent lap time. Now 137.5 is certainly not going to do anything special on the leaderboards, but it doesn't matter. This is why we don't have ghosts on, and this is why we're not comparing it to anyone else. We're focusing on our ability. Now that previous lap I mentioned a discoloration on the floor, that's this point here. Braking quite firm. Now using a lot of front brake, the bike stopped very nicely. Not downshifting too much, just allowing the bike to manoeuvre and position itself into turn 5. Now on the right hand side, I am going to play around with downshifting and upshifting in that corner. Not quite content with just leaving it in third. And I also found that maybe dropping it to second didn't really do anything, so got to try and balance that as well. Also, I'm going to try a couple of wider lines here for turn 11, because if you do go too tight like I'm just doing right now, you are losing power, you're losing speed, and you're touching the apex turn 11. Now onto the brakes for this very difficult 12th corner. I think it might be the hardest corner in the track, because the second you get onto speed, you realise you need to get on the brakes. But I'm going to be quiet for this point. I want you to listen to the engine. Now that there is a prime example of listening to the engine as a chance to braking. Now, as I say, if you change your setup, you change your gear ratio, it is going to have different results. But for me, I know when the bike, you start revving into that 4th gear, it's time to brake. And it can be an excellent reference point for you if you're constantly using the same setup. If you're using a default, maybe you've got a setup of your own. Try and remember those braking points even by using the sound of the engine. A little bit aggressive there on the acceleration, but now as the tyres beginning to worsen, they are beginning to degrade, we have to now take that into consideration. Now, as I say, it's quite easy to say it and sit in time trial with completely no tyre degradation on and just churn out those laps. But when you get into a race situation and you realise, uh-oh, I have never dealt with tyre wear before, that's when mistakes will come in, and that's when you'll start questioning your own ability. So it's better to bite the bullet now, pull off the plaster, and just learn with tyre wear off. Could be a little bit more challenging, it's up to you, but it's just how I tend to do things. So I actually ran it a little bit wide there, unfortunately. Didn't really brake as early as I wanted to. And now going for the wider line, you can see I kind of got out of there well. Here's another braking point. 3rd gear was screeching away there. That was my reference point to start braking for turn 12. As long as I stick with that same pattern, it should work every time. The only thing you do need to be careful of is that if you're compromising your speed in one corner and you're always doing it in a certain method, you'll have to take that into account. So if you come out of the left-hander, for example, like this one, and maybe you had a massive wheel spin and you really lost a significant amount of time, braking at your usual spot would now not work. So you have to factor in how your speed was going into the corner. Something else to mention. There's a lot of things here in this video, but I'm trying to give you a much guided approach, as much as I would possibly teach myself, and what I would do if I was just learning this track by myself. Now, I'm going for a little bit of a wider line here. Now, that wouldn't work in a race situation. You'd have a lot of riders in front of you, but it's worth trying in a situation like this. It's a bad habit to pick up if you wanted to continue that line, because you will always be overtaken. And I know a lot of players that tend to do a lot of time trials can forget that when they come to the multiplayer racing, or even racing against the AI. You know, there's opinion. Oh, a little bit wide there, apologies. I was a little bit too eager upon that side. But I know in the past, you know, riders that don't play against the AI, or maybe they just do time trial, the second they take those time trial lines against the competition, that's when crashes come, collisions, and then once they're off the racing line, they struggle to find it. Now here's another example of the opposite of knowing when to gear. I geared up there a few times, had a wheel spin, and touched the curb. My braking marker, listening to the revs, has now changed, so we needed to adapt there and try and brake roughly at the same spot. But I know what you're thinking. Where are the brake markers on this track? And that's a great question. It's simply about feel, because it's so challenging in some of these corners, because there isn't any reference points at all for you to particularly use. A couple of ones like such as this one going into turn 1, braking marker left on the side of your screen, basically just the rumble strip. Use that curb to your advantage to brake into that point every single time. Now before I got into this video, I did have a little small off into turn 2. I braked a little bit too hard, cold side of the tyre, bang. So I am being a little bit tentative for there, and now I've gone a little bit too tight to the apex for turn 4, trying the opposite of what we just did a moment ago. And then back on the brakes, we didn't quite have the same speed there, so you see how we're now actually braking almost a little bit too strongly. Do need to take that into consideration, but from what I want you to learn here today is just simply get out on the track and try as much lap times as you can. Now, I'm not imploring you to do anything, but maybe I did actually say I implore you, but I recommend going for this sort of style. Fuel on, tyre wear on, and just go for it. Do as many laps as you can until you really feel like this is going nowhere. Because what you will find now, with the tyre wear in effect, our lap times are now going to start to struggle. The bike might start to slide, but I guarantee you when we go back to the pits with a fresh tyre, the bike will fly around this circuit and we'll feel so much more comfortable and competent to then tackle those difficult corners that we're struggling with now. I can assure you that will be the case. I'll do around 10 laps and then we'll dive back into the pits and change things up. So once again, turn 1, rumble strips on your left hand side, slam on the brakes, lots of rear brake, calm on the downshifts, and then midway through, drops to first gear. One thing I will absolutely recommend and implore is you must not downshift too promptly in this game. Oh, I've gone way wide there, apologies. I was too engrossed in conversation apparently, but for example, going into this corner here, there's the discoloration on the floor, hard on the brakes, wait for it, downshift to first gear when the bike has stopped sliding. You can combat this with a lower engine brake, but leaving it at 3 for now. If you downshift too promptly, the bike will lock up and it'll start to spin. So just be careful on those downshifts. Really late on the brakes again, leaving it really late. I've completely messed that up. So that's me cutting the corner. Now, I mean, cutting the corner there in a controlled fashion, so we can get an interesting, accurate representation of the lap times towards the end. If we just cut the corner, we might give ourselves the impression that we actually did a good sector time, which we didn't. I cut the corner, it's invalidated, we move on. So of course guys, if you have any questions, or maybe something in this video I haven't quite explained very well, let me know in the comments section down below. Got a lot more guides planned for the future. I don't know if I'll be doing the track guides in depth, but I'll certainly cover some of the more challenging ones, and of course, the braking guide tutorial, which will be coming out very, very soon. So let's see if we can do a bit better now with tyres that are heavily, heavily worn. Can we keep within the 1 second bracket? Downshifted a bit too early there, look what happened. Span the rear up a little bit, didn't quite comfortably move into turn 1. Now out of turn 2, getting a lot of vibration on the rear tyre now, it's beginning to swerve, beginning to squirm around. And again, using the rear brake is also causing it to turn a little bit too much into turn 4. Already losing a significant amount of time. Brake at this discoloration. Nice and firm. Look how much brake pressure is being applied in the bottom right corner of your screen. And get back onto the power. Now these change directions are getting more and more challenging now. But as I say, it's all part of the big process. All that time of just struggling to fight the tyres, when we get to the point where we can completely turn off tyre wear, you'll feel significantly better. That didn't look like I actually cut the corner there, but just be careful then. Bear that in mind. If you do go too tight to that apex, it does count! Whoa! Apologies. Wow. A little bit too strong there on the acceleration. I neglected the fact that I have no vibration on the DualSense controller. I almost sent my virtual counterpart to the moon and back. Good lord. I think there's a lot of time to be found here in turn 15. I'm not fully confident with the braking at the gear rev limiter. But you know, we are making the track, we're making the corner, and as long as you're making it and you're making progress, you will continue to improve. It's when you're not doing either, as I terribly, terribly braked into turn 1. I think we are now probably to the last legs of these tyres. We could probably do 2 more, but it is getting really challenging now to do a decent lap. I can feel by just not even getting it absolutely perfect, I could improve upon now. And this is the right point now. We're still doing the laps. We're struggling a little bit. We've had 4 laps in a row where it's been invalidated, unfortunately. But we're still doing lap times relatively close to what we're doing. Well, no more than 2 seconds off the pace, which is an understandable, normal experience. The tyres do degrade. You're going to lose around 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. Really late on the brakes there. That kind of worked well. It's not something I would confidently do, but if I was pushing for a particular lap, that might work. And I think another great bit of advice is just because you invalidate the lap, don't restart. Don't just immediately press the start button, head to the restart button. It's not going to work. What you're going to do is you're going to pick up some bad habits and only become pretty much a one-lap merchant. And you don't want that. You want it to keep on going, keep that familiarity going and that comfort. Because in a race situation, when someone knocks you wide, maybe you make a mistake, you can't rewind and you can't restart. You've got to adapt and just get back to it. But that's pretty much it for now. Oh, we got one more lap. I did say we'll do 10, so let's do one more. So here we go then. Can we at least get into the 38s again? And can it stay valid? That'd be much nicer. Again, calm on the downshifts. Slow on the acceleration, tight. Little bit of front brake is being applied there. I'm kind of tapping it a little bit there just because the lack of feeling on the front end with no vibration. Bit wide. Even the rear brake is not helping the tyre. Look at it squirming. Yeah, we're definitely ready now to change across to a brand new pair of tyres. It's nice and tight. Back on the left hand side. Well, I took liberties there. I really did. And once again on the right hand side, turn 8. Careful acceleration. Let the bike get to close to that. Rumble strip on the right hand side of your screen, and then start to brake in and calmly lean in for the chicane. We're going to brake in the middle of the corner here, not too tight. Not too strong in the power either on the exit. I think I'm having that glitch actually here, which is slowing my bike down. I've heard this before regarding electronics, but we'll worry about that another day. Definitely struggling to get the power on out that corner when I go in second gear and then ride height device. It seems to slow the bike down. Nice and calm, hitting that rev limiter. Downshift a bit too prematurely there, but we kept hold of the bike, and we will possibly finish into the 138s here. Onto the power, near the curbs, and then get across the line to complete our 10 laps with tyre wear and fuel on. So those are my 10 laps, and interesting stuff there really. As I say, you know, we have balance between a 37.5 and a 39.3, so it's well within those 2 seconds that I was looking for. But the big part is now. So we go in, we change our settings, we now turn off fuel and tyre wear, and we jump into it again. So here we go again then. Can we beat the 37.525 with a brand new pair of tyres? Now, this should be pretty quick. I should imagine we'll make a big difference here, and this is why I want this to be evident, to heed my advice and try it for yourself. Late on the brakes. Not perfect, a little bit too late there, probably lost a little bit of confidence on the brakes, but now into the left-hander. Rear tyre kicking out there actually quite abruptly. And everything else still the same, default settings, default setup, everything's exactly the same. Bit wide there for turn 4, picked a bad habit up from the time trial at the end. Keep off the curbs, and then again, discoloration on the floor there, bang. Nice and gentle, really slamming on that brakes, really trying to stop the Grassini Ducati. Now into the left-hander again. Shock it to the right. On the curbs. Keep on the right-hand side again. Oh, staying in third. Wait for the right-hand side. Bang, start braking. Not bad. Careful of that one though, because it's a bit treacherous. Now on the left-hand side. Again, we don't want to go too tight here. Oh, I kind of did. Didn't heed my own advice. Touching the curb there is going to lose his time. Wait for the 4th gear to almost kick in. Well, for us to be ready for turning to the 4th gear. And then jump into turn 13. Nice and tight to the left hand. We will be finding time here. It's 9/10 of a second. Wait for the gear shifts. Bang. We were right there in the end of 4th gear. Actually went a bit late. I was too busy focused on it. But it's not a problem because I'm pretty certain that we found some good time here. Power on. And across the line. It's a better lap time by 6.5 of a second. Just like that. As I say, it's a feel-good factor when you've done that. You know that the bike's been struggling and you're still keeping within a second or two. Fresh pair of tyres instantly feels better. A gratifying lap time. Works for me, it might work for you. Might not work for you. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Try something new. Just keep on doing time trial until you're happy. Or even do some races too. Nice. A little bit better this time around. Still in the green on the top right corner of your screen. Touch the curb. Lean in. Touch this curb as well. Third gear. Rumble strip on the right. Start braking. Little bit gentle upon the brakes there. Oh, I definitely cut the apex that time. That's because I didn't get the braking right, and the right-hander, well, for the left-hander, but I was on the right-hand side of the track, didn't quite go as early as enough. If I went a little bit earlier, probably wouldn't have been in a situation where I would feel the need to cut the apex to that dramatic effect. But now, 10th and a half. I know there's a lot of time we can find here by getting this final corner correct. Might look unorthodox, like we're going really slow there, but look at the difference in the time in the top right corner of your screen. Oh, I'm surprised that didn't invalidate my next lap. I am very surprised. I thought it would. Yeah, we found 7/10 there. That's a 35. Oh, sorry, 36. Got a bit ahead of myself there. I've gone wide again for turn 1. Seems every time I'm a little bit too chatty, I make a mistake into turn 1. So now on the power, a little bit of rear wheel slide. It's okay. Straighten up, brake. Ride height device ready to enable. Straighten up the Ducati. Losing a bit of time, but again, we're still going to be in the lower echelon of the 36s. Providing everything goes well. Neck and neck again. Into the right-hander, stay in third, hit the apex. It's okay if it wobbles, don't worry about it. There's the right-hand side, bang. Nice, late on the downshift, that's the key. If you have to use first gear, make sure it doesn't kick in till late. Downshift with too much revs, too much speed, and it will cost you. Wait for the gear. You can now start to brake. Touch that apex, touch the next apex, use a little bit of brake if you have to. And then power out. Now we're up by 10th and a half here, but there's a lot of time to be found in this chicane. Brake here. This is good. This is really good. Look at it coming to fruition, ladies and gentlemen. We don't balls up the final corner like we did earlier. We wait for an opportunity. We fire on the power, close to track limits there, and across the line we will improve to a 36.3. Yeah, that's good enough. I think we can get into the 35s, but I think my point has been proven here today. With balance performance off and everything else, I'm happy with the results here today. So there you have it then, guys. Our fastest lap was a 136.1, which was invalidated, so there's definitely potential of a 135, but for the time being, a 36.3 is evident enough of the improvement and how to try and learn a track. That's been how I do it, and I certainly hope it is helpful for you guys as well. If it is, and if you have used this to your strengths, let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. So guys, thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Ciao for now.
Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.